Hello everybody, it's Non-Scene News here, and today we've got a lot of interesting updates today. So the first news is coming from Mongolia and Russia. So on September the 3rd, Putin will visit Mongolia at the invitation of the country's president, so the Mongolian president, whose name I cannot pronounce one bit, so I'll just put it on the screen right here. So according to the Kremlin, Putin's visit is to attend the 85th anniversary celebration over the Soviet-Mongolian troops' victory over Japan. The press service also mentioned that the leaders of Russia and Mongolia will discuss the future of their countries' relations and comprehensive strategic partnership and exchange views on international and regional issues. But we've got on news that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Ukraine has called on Mongolia to fulfill its obligations of International Criminal Court, the ICC, to actually arrest Putin during his visit to Mongolia. So we'll see what happens on September the 3rd. But on September the 3rd, Putin is visiting Mongolia. Now let's go to Moscow, where we've got the news that Senegal's foreign minister, so the African country of Senegal's foreign minister, visited Moscow, where he met with the foreign minister of Russia, Sergei Lavrov. So the Russian foreign minister, Sergei Lavrov, and the Senegal's foreign minister talked about relations between the two countries. So speaking during their joint news conference, Senegal's foreign minister stated that the two countries hoped to increase collaboration on mineral exploration, energy, agriculture, scientific research, and a lot more. So it seems that nothing military is coming out of this visit. It's going to be economic. So very interesting. We've also got news that probably the country who did this will get a lot of backlash. So Hungary's foreign minister Peter flew to Russia just a day after the EU foreign ministers meeting in Brussels. So if you can see here, you can see the Hungarian foreign minister in St. Petersburg, where he visited a lot of Russian companies. So at a meeting, the Hungarian foreign minister stated that Hungary's energy security is not guaranteed without Russian gas. It's not about ideology, it's about physics and mathematics, the Hungarian foreign minister stated. So his visit to Russia is to secure his fuel, his gas of his country. So very interesting. The next news is coming from the Kursk region. So we've got news that the Russian forces report that today in the airspace of the Sumy region, a Ukrainian MiG-29 was actually shot down by a Russian Su-35 aircraft while attempting to strike the territory of the Kursk region. So I don't know if this was a big dogfight or the Su-35 just locked it on from very long way away and just shot it down. But we've got news that the Ukrainian MiG-29 was destroyed over the territory of the Sumy region. So I don't know if this was a dogfight, I don't know, but it seems that the Russians have shot the Ukrainian MiG-29 down. Now let's go to the port of Mariupol. So the port of Mariupol has exported over 88,000 tons of wheat to Syria and Turkey. 17 grain ships have been shipped from the port of Mariupol since the beginning of the year. In total, approximately over 107,000 tons of wheat were inspected, of which more than 88,000 tons were exported to Turkey and Syria. So Mariupol is exporting wheat and its normal stuff. So very interesting news. We've also got news coming from the latest Russian recruitment ad. So if you want to watch it, here you go, but if you don't want to watch it, just skip forward within the video.
Из чего же сделаны наши мужчины? Из татушек и проколотых ушек? Из иллюзий и банановых смузи сделаны наши мужчины? Из яркого грима и стримов? сладких пирожных и брендов одежных сделаны наши мужчины. Из чего сделан ты? Присоединяйся к тем, кто сделан из чести, доблести и мужества. Присоединяйся к своим.
Now let's go to Ukraine. So one of the biggest news right now is that Zelensky has actually dismissed the Ukrainian commander of the Air Force of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. So he has been replaced with someone we don't know yet, but he's been fired. So Zelensky has fired the commander of the Ukrainian Air Force. So this is actually right after the F-16 crashed. So a lot of people are saying that it's because the F-16 lost. This is why the Ukrainian Air Force commander has been replaced. We've also got news coming from the Czech Republic and Ukraine that the Czech Republic have transferred F-16 decoys. So to avoid further unpleasant incidents, Ukrainian pilots will be transferred to Czech supplied inflatables F-16 decoys. So if you can see here in the bottom left corner, the Czech Republic are setting these to try and lure out the Russians to try and reduce F-16 casualties. We've also got news coming from Belarus and the Ukrainian border. Then we continue to see heavy armoured vehicles being transferred to the border, and we keep on seeing the B sign. So if you can see here in your bottom left corner, we can clearly see there's a lot of Bs on these vehicles. I think it means V. It's actually V in Russian, I don't know, but if you can see these tanks on these railways, you can see the B, you can see these self-propelled artillery guns, you can see the B. So obviously a lot of people are saying that Belarus is going to start an incursion to Ukrainian territory. I don't know, we'll have to see. But more and more Belarusian equipment with the B sign is heading to the border. We've also got news coming from Poland that Poland is not even considering the possibility of shooting down missiles over the Ukrainian territory, said the Deputy Minister of National Defense. We've also got news that Poland will also not train Ukrainian soldiers on the Ukrainian territory, Deputy Defense Minister stated. He stated that we can imagine that there may be countries that are based on the agreements that will train Ukrainian soldiers on Ukrainian soil. Poland is not among them. Now let's head to the Czech Republic. So we've got news that the Czech ammunition deliveries to Ukraine is on track, stated the Foreign Minister of the Czech Republic. So deliveries under the Czech ammunitions initiative are proceeding as planned, according to the Czech Foreign Minister. So Prague, the Czech Republic, has already announced that Ukraine will receive 100,000 units of ammunition during July and August. By the end of the year, a total of 500,000 units of large caliber ammunition could be delivered to Ukraine through this initiative. We've also got news coming from the Czech Republic that the Czech Republic places no restrictions on Ukraine's use on its military equipment, stated the Czech Foreign Minister. So there's no restrictions on Czech weapons to strike Russia. There's no restrictions on it at all. So very interesting. And we've got news coming from Serbia is that Serbia is to buy 12 Rafale fighter jets from France, Dassault Aviation, for about $3 billion US. So Serbia is buying 12 French Rafale fighter jets. Now let's head to the EU. So the EU is set to reach 60,000 trained Ukrainian soldiers by tomorrow, with Germany alone planning to train 10,000 by the end of the year, according to the German official Thomas Hischler. So according to the German official, the EU is going to reach 60,000 Ukrainian soldiers by tomorrow. We've also got news coming from the EU that the EU defense ministers do not agree on lifting restrictions on strikes against Russia. And the last news, which is actually coming from Stoltenberg, which, if you guys remember, we did not get news from Stoltenberg for at least 4 months. But he's back, and Stoltenberg stated that the Ukrainian armed forces operation in the Kursk region is legal. So the NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg stated that in an interview with Welt that Ukraine's operation in the Kursk region is legal and falls under the right of self-defense. Now let's head to Armenia and Azerbaijan. So the Prime Minister of Armenia stated that it does not intend to return the territories occupied by Azerbaijan by military means. The issue must be resolved peacefully, stated the Armenian president. And we've also got news that the Armenian Prime Minister, sorry, if I said president in the previous lines, it's actually Prime Minister. So the Armenian Prime Minister stated that he is ready to meet the President of Azerbaijan, Aliyev. So very interesting news. But in the conversation with Putin, the Armenian Prime Minister stated that Armenia would prefer to continue negotiations with Baku, so Azerbaijan, without Moscow's participation. So the Prime Minister of Armenia doesn't want Putin, doesn't want Russia within the talks. We've also got news coming from Armenia that Armenia freezes its participation in Russia's CSTO organization. So we actually got news that, well, if you don't know what CSTO is, it's basically a NATO alliance, but with former Soviet countries. So there's been a lot of talk that Armenia will actually withdraw from this military alliance. So I will keep you updated on that. And we've got news coming from the Turkish Defense Minister. So the Turkish Defense Minister stated that Assad's recent statements about the necessities of normalizing relations between Turkey and Syria are very positive. So Assad, being the president of Syria, stated that the Turkey and Syria should get along. So this is why the Turkish Defense Minister is actually agreeing and saying that Assad's view is actually positive. So the Turkish Defense Minister also stated that it is in the interest of Turkey and Syria to end the conflict environment as soon as possible and to return to normal relations. We've also got news coming from Mali's permanent representative to the UN. So he stated that a significant proportion of Western supply weapons to Ukraine fuels terrorism in Sahel and increases the risk of destabilization in the region, stated Mali's permanent representative to the UN. Mali, he noted that he calls on countries supplying weapons to Kiev to ensure that they don't fall in the hands of terrorists in Africa. Now, we've also got more news coming from Mali that the Chinese company is to build a large solar panel plant in Mali. The Chinese company will build a 50 megawatt solar power plant in rural parts of Mali. Now we've got news coming from mercenaries of the Russian PMC Bears. So mercenaries of the Russian PMC Bears are apparently leaving Burkina Faso in Africa because of the Ukrainian army's offensive in the Kursk region. So the mercenaries arrived in Burkina Faso only in May to support the local junta. However, the unit's commander Victor stated on French newspaper Limoges that they are returning to Russia to defend the Kursk region. He stated that the unit would return to Africa only after the situation in Russia stabilizes. So this is according to Ukrainian sources and the French newspaper in Mali. We've also got news coming from Niger and Nigeria. So Nigeria and Niger have signed a security deal despite rift since the coup. So Nigeria and Niger have signed the deal to boost their security cooperation, the Nigerian military stated on Thursday, despite tensions between the neighbouring countries since a coup in Niger a year ago. We've also got news that Houthi forces have actually stormed and burned down a Greek-flagged crude oil tanker in the Red Sea. So the Houthis, armed with AK-103 assault rifles, stormed the ship. So if you can see here in bottom left corner, you can see the Houthi forces board the ship and kind of like look around for a bit. So very interesting news. We've also got news that Pakistan's navy, so Pakistan has sent a destroyer, it seems, to participate in the exercise with the Royal Navy of Oman. Both navies have engaged in various activities enhancing mutual cooperation. So Pakistani navy ships take part in Oman's naval exercise. Now we've got news coming from the US that the Ukrainian minister Umarov have arrived in the Pentagon to potentially ask for more F-16s. Sources are stating. So if you can see here, the military official of Ukraine, Umarov, has met with the American Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin, I believe his name is, at the top of my head. We've also got news coming from Venezuela. So we've got news coming from Venezuela that a huge power outages around the whole country of Venezuela did take place. So almost all states of Venezuela have been severely impacted by today's power outages, with only limited connectivity remaining, and the communication minister has attributed the incident to electrical sabotage. So there's been massive power outages around Venezuela, and Maduro, the leader of Venezuela, stated that they attacked transmission systems. I don't know who they are, but they attacked transmission systems. And the last news coming today is coming from Brazil. Apparently we've got news that Brazil, it's still rumours right now, I still don't know, but a lot of people are now saying that Brazil has banned the social platform X. That's all I have for you today. I'm Nonsense News. I will try and provide you news that medias around the world do not show you. I do these videos hopefully daily, so consider subscribing and liking. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all later. Bye.